Okay, so let's quickly go through some number patterns. So here we're just having a look at some pretty basic number pattern things. So here it says find the rule and then fill in the missing numbers. So if we have a look here, we know we've been given a 1, a 4, a 7. We have to find the rule and then fill in the missing numbers. Okay, so the first thing you always do is you look at your pattern. So they've given you a 1, a 4, and a 7, right? You kind of want to figure out what's going on between them, right? So, I mean, if you just think off the top of your head, you might go 1 plus 3 will give you 4, and 4 plus 3 will give you 7, right? But if you're not sure, you can always go 7. So you always take the big number minus, so you take two numbers next to each other, okay? So you have 7, and you say minus 4, so you always take the big number minus the small number. That will give you an answer of 3. So then you're going to go, oh, okay, the difference or the numbers between them would be 3. So you're adding 3. Same with here, the 4 and the 1. You say 4 minus 1 gives you 3. Okay, we're adding 3. So our rule would be to add 3 each time. And then if we had to calculate the rest of the sum or the number pattern, 7 plus 3 would give us 10, 10 plus 3 would give us 13, 13 plus 3 would give us 16, and that's our pattern done. Okay, so the same with this one. We've been given a 20, a 16, and a 12. Okay. So now let's try to figure out what's between the two here. So you'll take the 20 minus the 16, so the 20 is the bigger number. That's why we're putting it first. Minus 16 will give you 4. Okay. 16 minus 12 will give you 4. But now, because we know it's getting smaller, from 20 going to 16 is getting smaller, we're actually minusing 4 in this pattern. So we know that our rule would be to subtract 4 each time. And then we'd have 12 minus 4, which would give us 8. 8 minus 4, which would give us 4. And 4 minus 4, which would give us 0. Okay, so that's a really simple, easy thing to work out. Okay, then sometimes you get given something like this, which is like a little bit of a flow diagram type thing. So this is kind of super easy. So you just go 1 times 9 would give you 9. So the input is 1, you times it by 9, you get 9. So that 9 would be your output. 3 times 9 would give you 27. Okay, so there you would have your answer. 6 times 9 would give you 54. So you have your input, your rule, your output. Okay, so now if you have a look here, this is divide by 9, which is basically the reverse. So 9 is your input, divided by 9, then you get your output of 1. 27 divided by 9 gives you 3. 54 divided by 9 gives you 6. So this is just the opposite of this diagram here. And that is because multiplication and division are inverse operations. Okay, so if you swap them around, you can still do the sum. The numbers are just swapped. Okay, so I'll show you a little bit of an example later on. If you get a table, you see your input number, your output number, and your rules. Your rule here is times 9. Our input number was 1, and our output number became 9. Our input number here was 3. Our output number became 27. Our input number was 6, and our output number was 54. Okay, if you were doing the division, it would be your input number is 9 divided by 9 gives you 1. That's your output number. So these will be your output numbers, and these will be your input numbers. Okay. So that's how you work out things like this. Now we have another one, which is one like this. So let's just have a look at it. We have our input number of 1. 1 times 5 will give us 5. 5 times 2 will give us 10. Okay. Our input number here is 5, so 5 times 5 will give us 25, times by 2 will give us 50. But here we don't have the number, but here we do. So now we have to work backwards. So 60, because we're working backwards, this will become divide 2. 60 divided by 2 gives us 30. Okay, 30 divided by 5 gives us 6. Okay. And what's nice is if you just put the 5 and the 2 together, 5 times 2 gives you 10, and you went 1 times 10, 10, 5 times 10, 10, 6 times 10, 50. So 5 times 10 is 50, 6 times 10 gives you 60. Okay. Then if you look at something like this, where it's got like a huge number, so 3 times 400, you're probably thinking like, what, that's so big. The easiest thing to do is just to block out the 2 zeros. So 3 times 4 is 12, okay? And you add your zeros back. So, okay, so that would be 3 times 4 gives you 12. You add your zeros back. I add an extra one here. I don't know why, okay? But your answer would be 1,200. So here, if you wanted to work this one out, you'd say 5 times 4. That gives you 20. So your answer here would be 20 plus the 2 zeros, 2,000, okay? Now we're trying to work out this one. So we're going to say 28 divided by 4. So 28 divided by 4 should gives us 7, okay? So it's 7. So 7 times 4 would give you 28, and then you add the 2 extra zeros. Okay, so what they're trying to teach you is that multiplication and division are inverse operations. So here, if you wanted to work something like this out, you block out the zeros. 7 times 2, 14, you add the zeros back. 9 times 5, that will give you 45, I believe. Okay, so 45, add your 2 zeros, 4,500. So now we've got 63 over here, 63,000. So we know we've got a 7. So if we had to work the sum backwards, we'd say 63 divided by 7, which will give you 9, plus our zeros back. Should be 9,000, right? Let me just check something quickly. Yep, it'll give you 9,000. Okay. So that's basically that in a nutshell.